My great-aunt died on June 6th, 2018. At least, that's what the letter said. I received the letter and the attached package on December 25th. I thought it was something I had ordered from Amazon and forgotten. But then I remembered that the mail wasn't delivered on Christmas. I shrugged it off, opening the enclosed letter. As I began to read, my stomach sank in disbelief. Dear Mr. Edison, this item has been left to you by Abilene Edison, your great-aunt, who was pronounced deceased on June 6, 2018. We apologize for the delay in delivering this to you. Being her only living relative, we determined that her wish for you to have this item is legal and beyond our control. The rest of her belongings have been incinerated. Her body is unavailable at this time. Please do not contact our office as we have officially severed ties with the Edison Family Trust. If you have any questions, you'll have to find the answers on your own. Goodbye, Golson, Orez and Danhorn Law Firm. First of all, I did not know I had a great-aunt. My parents died in a car crash when I was in college, and I had no grandparents or aunts or uncles, so I just figured I was the only Edison left. My parents never mentioned a great-aunt Abilene. We were a close but secretive family. We didn't let a lot of people in. I wondered what Abilene had done to be erased from our history. The package itself was square, wrapped in a dull brown paper. My address was handwritten, unlike the letter. The text was a deep red. I took the paper off, slowly, careful to preserve everything. My mother was meticulous in all things. She taught me to enjoy the dull, mundane activities of life. Slipping my finger beneath the paper was ritualistic. I took my time as my gift revealed itself. My only Christmas present, I thought wistfully. Under the paper was an ornate, carved wooden box. I let my fingers linger on the spirals, leaves, and serpents. There was no discernible pattern, but it was beautiful. The box itself wasn't smooth or polished. The rough wood gave way only where a knife had been held to its face. Needless to say, it was an odd gift. Why would a woman I had never met send me this? I opened the lid, expecting an empty vessel. Instead, I found a tree ornament. It was an angel with a cross behind it. The angel had brilliant, pale skin. She was swathed in a purple robe with feathery, golden wings. The cross behind her had a similar gold glint. The ornament seemed to be made of clay and was cold to the touch. I had no idea why Abilene would save this one thing and send it to me. Maybe it held some sentimental value. Our family wasn't religious at all, and although we had a tree growing up, now that I was a lonely 20-something, I'd never bothered with it. No family to share Christmas with anyway. I was tempted to put the ornament back in the box and donate it somewhere, but I felt a pull towards it. I felt like it belonged with me. I took down a small picture from the wall of the living room and hung the ornament on the nail. It looked incredibly awkward against the drywall. Such a beautiful ornament deserved a lush tree to rest upon. I got an unexplainable shiver and tried to ignore it, but I couldn't take my eyes off the angel. Suddenly, my skin felt too small for my body. I squirmed inside my clothes. My muscles pushed against their organs, wrapping, making my arms shoot out in front of me. I was speechless, bewildered by my own body's betrayal. A knot in my chest started pounding. My autonomous arms flopped around until it reached a pen on the nearby table. My finger cracked one by one as they moved on their own, brutishly grasping at the pen. I let out a small gasp, horrified as I felt other parts of my body strain and move on their own. My legs shakily carried me towards the wall where the ornament hung. My neck rolled my head around like a bowling ball on a slinky. The pen was thrust onto the wall by my clumsy hand, dragging the tip up and down. I closed my eyes. This wasn't happening. Couldn't be happening. Suddenly, my body was let go, and I fell to the ground with a sickening thud. I was motionless for a moment. There was a terrible fear that I wouldn't be able to move my body on my own anymore, but I was able to slowly sit up, rubbing my head, which had hit the floor quite hard. I looked up at the wall, and my breath stopped short. My hand had drawn a crude tree shape beneath the ornament. It was jagged and uneven, but definitely resembled a Christmas tree. Why had my body been so keen on drawing it? I stood, shakily. I was exhausted. I took some deep breaths, trying to regain normalcy. To test my body out, I stretched up and down, bent my fingers back, squeezed my toes. I was happy to find that everything worked exactly as it was supposed to. A serene feeling washed over me, and I was happy to presume that the past 10 minutes had been an oddity, not anything to worry about. But then, my head began to pound. It was not a normal headache. It felt like my brain was swelling too big for my skull. This time, I screamed, unable to hold in my horror. With my palms on my temples, I fell to my knees, looking up at the angel. For some reason, it felt like she was smirking at me. Something inside my head bulged against my fingers. I lost track of my breath as blood began to pool inside my ears. Something was digging its way out of my skull. Barbs pricked my hands, and so I dropped them, hanging my head with the severity of the pain. My skin cracked and broke. Blood was now clouding my vision and dropping to the floor like rain. I tried to stay awake, keep it together. It took the crown of thorns over 20 minutes to fully emerge from beneath my skin. I felt every single second of that devilish time span. My head was bleeding and ripped apart, but I remained conscious. I stopped screaming. I was now in a deep sob. Hesitantly, I touched the crown, feeling the tips of the thorns and the bits of flesh stuck there. What an image I must have made. Bowed before a penned tree on a wall, knelt in worship. Above me, an ornament with a laughing angel. At first, I thought the laughter was in my head. But as I raised my eyes to the ornament, I could see the angel's mouth was now open. Shrieks of glee coming from inside. I stood, careful not to slip on the blood, and grabbed the clay thing. It did not stop laughing. I threw it back in the box, angrily closing the accursed lid. Screw this Christmas present, I thought furiously. You're the one who's screwed, the box replied. Trembling, I opened the lid again. The angel now had her hands on her hips. "Hang me back up, kid." I gulped for air as I quickly put the ornament back on the wall. She looked around, her tiny clay head swiveling freely as if she were alive. "Nice house. This will do perfectly." I stared, unable to be surprised, since I'd grown thorns from my head. I was weak, covered in blood, and completely confused. The ornament sighed. "You look like crap, kid." Nah, don't talk. Just listen. This is my house now. You got that? And you're mine too. We get a whole year together until next Christmas. "Who are you?" My mouth was dry. The pain had dulled. "You can call me Lucy. Now, go take a shower. We're going out tonight." "We?" Suddenly, my right arm moved on its own, grasping my throat. I gasped, using my other hand to try pry the other off me. I fought for a few seconds before my right arm went limp again. I heaved. The ornament giggled. "I'm with you now, kid. Can't get rid of me. If you try, I'll kill you. If you say anything to anyone, I'll kill you. Or just let them lock you in a loony bin." She chuckled. "You're young. I like that. Last one was too old. Died before the year was even up. Dusty cow." "You mean my great aunt?" "She wasn't your great aunt, kid. I go where I want." What? What am I?" She grinned. "I'll give you one hint." Slowly, excruciatingly so, the cross behind her began to move. It twisted behind her until it was completely upside down. "Much better. But you're an angel." My voice was whiny, almost childlike. I was realizing that I was not myself anymore. I belonged to someone new. The ornament bounced from the volume of her laughter. "So is Satan. You don't hold it against him, do you?" I collapsed to the floor, crying. My left hand raised by itself and slapped me. I felt my throat begin to move, something mixing with my tongue. And then I said, without my permission, "Merry Christmas, kid."